Hello again, welcome back to Three Bridges. I'm Mark, and my underground stations. So it's the main focus of current work, getting the underground line going. So this is a very short update. So been away for about half the week. Had to travel down south, see parents and work, but had a chance to watch an awful lot of YouTube and find a couple of new people who started layouts in last year that I sort of missed before, so I've enjoyed that, and obviously a few of my old favourites. Anyway, back, I am really still working on the plans for where the Uxbridge line sort of starts, and I'll give you a very short update on how my planning is going. I don't use planning software or anything like that. It's very much just decide what I think looks nice or where the track can go. So that's the approach I always take. So as you can see, I've got paper out, drawn all over. It's almost like a rough sketch of where I want the tracks to go. So I don't use track plan or anything like that. I just tend to do it with paper. And so I know where I want my tracks to go and where I want this Uxbridge basically line to start dropping down. It then comes under my two Marylebone lines and one of the Amersham lines, and then it will end up joining up about here. So what I'm trying to do at the moment is I'm basically going to have a sheet of wood, so this sort of size, so it's just over a metre, about just over 1.5 metres long, and then I will cut out from this the various parts that will effectively form the different lines that I'm doing. So my west coast and east coast line will run along the back in one section, and then the line that cuts away from that will effectively form the edge of part of the underground line that's coming from Amersham. And then, as the drawing sort of shows, in the middle, this is where the Uxbridge line is dropping down, and then the other side of this is my other Amersham line which goes over it. So about here there's a cutting underneath as you get just outside of Harrow Hill. So there's one further consideration I've got to make. So obviously, in order to get the Uxbridge lines underneath these three lines, there isn't enough space to drop it down, so which is why I spent a long time last summer raising what is the board here and up above the main subframe, open framework, so that I've sort of got 4 centimetres of clearance anyway. So I need a total of 6, including the deck. I need 7 basically, so that my underground trains can clear underneath this board when I get to this point. So starting it early, and then this board will remain sort of 4 centimetres higher anyway than the subframe at this point. So I think the combination of the two will get me through it. And I'm going to do the same with the incline at the back. So my west coast and east coast line is currently sitting about 5 centimetres high above the open framework. I'm just going to keep that now level all the way around, so that those tracks just sit slightly higher than the ones in front. Quite like the idea of having just a slightly different height. They'll remain pretty much at that sort of 5 centimetres all the way around, and then once they get to here, and they're basically going straight down to the London station, which is probably about 4 metres away, they're 4 or 5 metres away, they can then start dropping down to be at the right height for the open framework once they get to the part where the station is. So if you're wondering what this is the start of Harrow Hill. So it has 3 main platform structures. There's actually 6 tracks, Harrow Hill, and there's a bridge over that you can walk through as a pedestrian. You can actually walk through the station. You don't actually get into the station, but you can pass through it. So, and I've worked out roughly where it can go. I tried to see if I could bring it a bit nearer, but there's just too much going on this side. So the arrangement is that basically any train coming from Amersham or Uxbridge can go, by the time it gets to the other end of the station, it can go either way, and vice versa when they come back. So there's a lot of point work this side of the station, and there's a lot of point work the other side of the station to include, which I'm looking forward to doing. But that'll be, I think on the plan that's April, May. So I've done a plan for most of the year now in terms of what's going to happen this side of the loft. So for February it's just to get Uxbridge finished downstairs and basically get the plan for how it's going to join up here, so that in March I can start building the rest of the framework. It will take my tracks all the way down to where my Uxbridge station is going to sit over there. So I've got a lot of framework to build up. That's the main priority at the moment. But I just needed to know this starting point, which is why I've had to go through this sort of design exercise. It'll all slowly make sense to me, and hopefully you, as I get into sort of late March, early April, with where the various tracks are going. I'm keen to get my underground trains running again next, and I'm going to focus on getting them happy that I can basically run them continuously whilst I spend the last 6 months of the year working on the other half of the Chiltern line down this side of the loft. So that's the plan. As you can see, I've got a bit of a Uxbridge seat production line going. I need to make another 5 to go on the layout, and I'm sorting out my movie posters. So I've been looking back at I wouldn't say favourite films from 1982 to 1989, but definitely the films I remember the most. I suppose at the time, yeah, they were all the big blockbusters that you got to see. So there'll be a few of those popping up. And obviously getting on with the glazing as well on the top, and then hopefully that'll be most of the station finished. For now, anyway, at least. So, see where we get to by the end of next week. Apologies again for the white noise in the loft. It's definitely one of those tubes. It's causing a lot of interference, so I need to work out which one it is and change it. Anyway, as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for liking and subscribing and all that. So, finally hit the 400 number. So, good for me.